heard me?
To the next level, then PreSonus is here for you. With PreSonus Sphere, you have access to PreSonus software, Sphere member exclusives, Studio One add-ons, Notion add-ons, sample and loop libraries, and more than you could even imagine. Some of our favorite plugins are the Analog Effects Collection, the Channel Strip Collection, and the Pro Console Shaper. Having a monthly or yearly subscription will give you access to PreSonus' award-winning DAW, Studio One Professional. So what are you waiting for? Join PreSonus Sphere today. PreSonus, wherever sound takes you.
Call me.
So my wife has gotten me watching another episodic show on Netflix. First it was 1,000-Pound Sisters. Y'all heard that beautiful episode that came out.
What a roller coaster.
Yeah. And they're still going strong. Well, not strong, but they're still going.
They're going large.
Larger than life.
They're at large.
Okay? But there's this show. It's called Love on the Spectrum. All right, bro. Like,
I'm not laughing because of the situation.
So let's get something straight. My oldest daughter, she's 21 years old. She's autistic, right? So it has a special place in my heart.
You understand?
I understand
the
it.
spectrum,
but also, okay, I have some issues with this show. All right.
It's a reality show, right?
The first girl they show, it's a reality show,
okay.
And what it does is it gets so. Say you're anywhere on the spectrum, because now the spectrum is very broad.
Yeah.
Asperger's, autism, Down syndrome,
attention deficit,
retardation, like the whole, like go through the whole thing. I don't know if retardation's a thing anymore. I'm just saying that's what we said in the 90s.
You said the full word, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any of those things on a developmental level, right? You're on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. That opened up so much since like 2005,
which was not a thing,
by the way.
Right? My daughter was born in 2000, and it was a struggle because it was very expensive for therapy and all these things, and I'm not gonna get into all that.
There was a lot of uncharted
But I'm just
water.
saying, like they weren't. She's been re-diagnosed over the years. Like right now, I still call it autism, but what she has, I can't say. So even if I Google it and I look at the word, I can't say the word.
It's somewhere on this part of the spectrum.
Right. It's like in the pretty little purple zone or whatever.
Yeah.
So my wife watches everything. She likes murder documentaries, and she just watched that John Wayne Gacy thing and all. So she's watching this.
That's what Randy's on.
So my thing is this. The one of the first little girls on there that they were trying to hook up, she has like social issues. But you look at her and she's beautiful. You can't tell. You can't tell. So if this chick was just in a bar and you walked up to her until she said something like, do you like tigers at, because she was really into like tiger, do you like tigers at the zoo? 'Cause tigers are my favorite animal. And you realize she had the mind of like an 8-year-old, right? You would never know. So they set her up on this blind date with this guy who's autistic, who looked like a goon. He's overweight. He's got a flat face. I'm like, that's not fair to that girl just because she doesn't know any better. The problem with that is they look at it like, oh, well, they're more about the heart of it. BS.
You're more about the entertainment of it.
Right.
You're a show.
Exactly. Don't set her up for failure.
Yeah.
So the next girl, very good looking girl, she became an animator at 14 years old because all of these kids, just like my daughter, man, she excel. I bought this kid a keyboard for Christmas this year. 4 days later, she's playing the thing. It's done. You know, like she's picked up some musical talent. She can draw. She's into, they have these talents. So this girl draws anime. They put her in this situation to where this kid, he has some type of developmental issue, and he helps kids in his area with the same types of issues be able to communicate better so that they can get better jobs.
A mentor.
Yeah. And he also helps them with like job placement and stuff like that.
It's a hard world to navigate whenever you don't see things like other people.
Right.
It's really difficult to understand socially what I need to be doing right in this moment.
Right.
Because it's
it's
so over processing.
For the most part, they're very self-consumed. Like everything's about you all the time, and they try to teach them like you have to have back and forth with people in order to have relationships.
And you know why? I feel like from the jump, if someone displays these characteristics in their person, they're treated a certain way from infancy.
Exactly.
And they're always getting attention.
And they're always babied.
So they're used to this.
And they're a lot stronger than they are.
Yeah.
And then they seem to be. People
it's
look at
enabling.
them like exactly. They look at them like even my daughter. I have family members that treated her always like she was disabled. I'm like, this kid can do anything.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
She looks
She's
at
amazing.
things differently.
Yeah. But they're also super honest.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
So the girl sits down.
To a fault.
Bro, this girl, like, people are going to give me slack because she's, whatever. But she was hot. Like, she had a nice rack, dude. She had an hourglass figure, like, pretty face.
Yeah.
Little rock hair. Like, she looked like a little anime chick. But when she talked, you knew, like, what was ticking. Then same thing with this little guy that said that. Bro, within 3 minutes, she goes, I'm in love with you. Done. Like, it's boom. So to say that physical attraction isn't a thing for them, that's BS. Like, don't set them up with somebody ugly just because, and I'm not trying to be superficial. I'm just saying, if we, as what we call regular people, have the right to choose by looking first, you ain't gonna tell me that you didn't look at Randy and be like, God damn. And the same thing with me and Kelly. Like, me and Kelly worked at Charter 15 years ago together. The first time I walked in there, I was checking her out.
You
right?
have to have that initial attraction.
What makes them any different? And that's what I'm saying. Once again, this show is like the mass population looks at it like we're helping them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're helping them in the wrong way.
You're helping your ratings.
So this other kid made me feel like a punk.
I know a little bit about this one.
He's in Europe. He's a British guy. This kid dresses to the gills, like the most swag I've ever seen in my life, right? Hair slick back 007.
Always sharp.
Super good looking guy, bro. But he's a Rain Man. They were asking him crap like, what day was November 7th of 1912? And he says Tuesday. And they say, okay, well, what day was December 1st of 1935? And it's Monday, which none of those answers are right, by the way.
It's because of the leap year.
Yeah. And so he like, what's the square root of this? And he's like just rattling off numbers without even thinking, and they're all correct. Right?
Raymond.
Super intelligent, has a lot of etiquette too. So when he eats, he has like, his fork and knife poised correctly. So he's sitting there with this girl, and they're at this very nice place. They're actually drinking alcohol and things of that nature because they're legal, Let them drink a little.
They're adults.
So they're having them a little drink there, and they're trying new foods because a lot of them have sensory issues and stuff like that. So, but they all say the same thing. He says, "Oh, I'm very nervous. Are you nervous?" "Yes, I'm nervous too." I've never said that to a woman, whether I was or not.
Just that statement alone, yeah.
So then he says, they talk for a little while, and she says something. Oh, this is what she says. She says, it was adorable. She says, he says, "What kind of art do you do?" She goes, "Imaginary." And he goes,
"That's a great descriptor."
And he's very logical, right? Everything's logic to him. So
artistic.
He's confused, and he says, "Imaginary?" And she goes, "Yeah, just whatever I think of. Like, my imagination is what I paint." Mm-hmm. "Oh, I'd like to hear more about this." So they talk for a minute.
How smooth.
Oh man, he was sitting there all, dapper and just
articulate.
Not even, and if you're looking at him, he doesn't realize he's nervous. He doesn't realize that he's the coolest cat on the block right now.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. No one acts that calm.
Not even what I say regular people like us. Like, nobody's ever that awesome. And so then their dessert comes, and he says, "Have you been having a nice time?" And she goes, "Yes, I absolutely have." He goes, "Would you like to continue?" And she says yes. And then he says, oh, thank God, because I would hate to get home and feel like a complete failure.
Wow.
I looked at my wife and she said, what? I said, this guy made me feel like a bitch because I have never been that honest. Think about that, bro. You've never sat down on a date with butterflies because you really don't want this girl to walk away. You really don't want her to know that you kind of effed up in the head a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But to be able to admit that, dude, if I mess this up as a man, I'm going to go home and feel like a complete failure for tonight.
Not only because I didn't get to take you home, but also as a man, that's
my ego.
That's what I'm trying to do with myself.
I've never seen the male ego on display like I did with this damn autistic kid, bro. And it was like crazy to me that it blew my mind. And it could be the shrooms, but I don't care.
I think you were just open to the spectrum with that amount.
Here we go with the puns.
And that's okay.
Season 3 puns, baby.
That's okay. That's good. I appreciate
But you understand what I'm saying?
A different point of view.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, this kid was like so... And he had his legs crossed. He was kind of sitting sideways. And when he said it, he looked over at her, looking kind of down over his eyebrow. And he said it like James Bond. And I was like, oh, man, like I've never been that cool in my life. And this kid's worrying about love on the spectrum?
Yeah.
No way. Now, some of them, it was wild, bro. Like... There was this tall, redheaded guy who was like very developmentally challenged, to say the least.
Okay.
But then they hooked him up with a Down syndrome girl, and he was like, "You are beautiful," and I was like, "Okay,
this
cool.
is a match made in heaven."
Fine,
yeah,
fine," because he looked kind of regular, you know.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, like, give him a shot. You know, there was a couple of them, like some of those girls. Dude, there's a girl on there, holds her mouth. This girl's getting married. She actually found her soulmate. It's a good-looking guy. She's beautiful. She looks just like Simone. Just like Simone. But when she starts to speak, she gets, you know, real excitable and stuff like that. Mm. And she came on her wedding dress, and she was beautiful. And I'm just saying, just because, you know, they have those issues and they want to find somebody with those like issues, doesn't mean they can't have attraction. Because in their minds, they only know the honesty of what they see.
Yeah. They don't have the capacity to bullshit, in other words.
Right.
And I appreciate that so much because we keep getting fed this bullshit as a society
every day,
constantly, that this other point of view is really refreshing. It's nice.
And at first, I'm always leery of watching things like that because, like I say, I feel like those things have been misrepresented in our country.
And that's why
I've also taught my kid to have thick skin. Like, look, your dad has issues. I have mental issues. And I found that laughter and comedy and trying to joke about it. And people say, well, that's not a good way to look at it. Look, it's my way to look at it, okay? I don't care what you think. And the same thing for my kid. My kid has thick skin, so she can joke about some of the things that she knows are a little off.
Yeah.
You know? I tell her all the time, Lexi, you weird, man.
That's an admirable...
You know, you're weird. She goes, you're weird. I know I'm weird, but I'm just letting you know. I'm just reiterating you're a weirdo just like me.
That's such an admirable trait to have.
So... I just hope people can look at that and not so much see that they're not always doing right by these people. Just like, you know, it's funny to an extent. You know, you got to laugh about the 1,000-pound sister thing, but were they exploited by companies like TLC just to make a buck? Because now they're not making that money from all those TikToks that people are. Every time they put a 60-second clip of those big mamas on there and they get 3.3 million views, TikTok's not paying them.
Nope. That's TLC's
TikTok's paying
property.
TLC because it's their property.
That's their IP, baby.
So be careful what you feed into, you know?
That's why I'm torn between the show. You know, I'm glad that the awareness is being spread.
Right.
And what it did for you is what I would hope it does for other people.
Well, at least I have a platform to tell people about it, of my perspective, so maybe they will look at it different.
And that's
but
good.
most people are not going to hear this message,
And,
right?
Right. And that's where the other part of it is for me, is these networks see an opportunity for a reality show and think, how could I get my ratings in a certain level for producing this show? And that's where the exploitation comes from. So their guidance through doing this, as the actors in this show, they clearly can't sign off on any of these contracts because of their mental stability or mental clarity for it to be legally binding.
Right.
In most cases, I'm assuming. So their guardian, or someone who does have the say-so over this person, is basically signing off on saying, hey, exploit me.
Right. Because journalistic integrity as a whole is not a thing anymore. That doesn't exist. They use that as a legal term to protect themselves. But at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. COVID ended because of Ukraine. Now, Ukraine's not even a thing. People are still dying over there, and nobody gives a damn.
We already shifted the focus to
Now we shifted the focus. You know what it is? Now it's Pride Month, and Juneteenth is coming up, and then it's every other woodwork thing that just erupts.
just shift.
Okay,
that. Keep it going.
So you got distractions. You got the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defecation trial.
Mm-hmm.
You got Russia still running amok. Putin's doing whatever the hell he wants. And I'm not saying that we're supposed to do anything. I'm not saying we're supposed to send money. I'm not saying I'm on either side. I'm just saying these are the things that they're putting in your face constantly, right? You know what was big news? Right now, everybody's distracted. Tiger Woods and the Honey Badgers going back to the Saints, and it's just BS. It's all BS. And you can't look around you to see what's going on. That, you know,
if
they're using you.
And what happens too is these, like big things happen, like in Ukraine, and it will obviously get attention, but it's only going to last for so long.
Very fleeting glimpses of what's really going on.
So you'll have all these pumped out articles on coverage with a narrative, apparently, from whoever's putting it out, and that's to be expected. But it'll only last so long because the ratings on a steady decline, and they're going to not invest those articles or videos or coverage on the topic if no one is caring about it anymore.
And what's crazy is that they're flooding the market with these documentaries of nobodies.
Yeah.
Like the chick that was the fake vegan on TikTok.
Why do we need that?
And who cares? Who cares? She got rich on pretending to be a vegan. I call that acting, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
And good for her.
Yeah.
You know?
Who are we?
Good for her.
But now all of a sudden, that's a crime.
Where's our documentary?
You know?
Where we fighting kaijus.
We do that.
We document ourselves.
And we save turtles, dude. I saved another turtle the other day. A huge one. Yeah, bro. It was massive.
That's nice of you.
Big old red ear slide. If I see a turtle in the road, I stop and I move them. If you're one of those dudes that you run over with your big truck, I'm going to find you in a parking lot somewhere. We're going to have it out.
I let a couple birds live underneath my awning.
Oh, that's nice, man.
I hate them. But, I mean, I'm not going to kill them.
They got poop on your car.
And that's where it kind of sucks.
And they got a nice new car, too, so what you going to do?
Oh, man, don't let me get into that.
Well, that's on another episode of the Dank Swamp Rebellion.
Call me.
Dave's Gaming Galaxy is the hottest spot in Houma to buy, sell, and trade retro gaming. Have some old video games or collectibles laying around that are just getting in the way? Then call Dave at Dave's Gaming Galaxy, 870-2378, or at davesgaminggalaxy@gmail.com. Dave's Gaming Galaxy will pay you top dollar for your used games, consoles, accessories, and collectibles. So remember, that's Dave's Gaming Galaxy at gmail.com and at 985-870-2378. Dave's Gaming Galaxy.
Call me.
Thank you for listening
listening to Dank Swamp Rebellion. Check us out on DSRTalks.com.